discovery and rescue. The vast emptiness of space stretched out before the U.S. horizon, a state-of-the-art human exploration vessel. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the bridge, her dark eyes scanning the star-speckled void. The ship had been tasked with mapping an uncharted sector of the galaxy, a mission that promised new discoveries and potential first contacts. "Captain, I'm picking up an anomalous reading," announced Lieutenant Raj Patel, his fingers dancing across the sensor console. "It appears to be a ship, but it's not matching any known configurations in our database." Sarah's heart quickened. "On screen, Lieutenant." The main view screen flickered to life, revealing a strange, crystalline structure drifting against the backdrop of stars. Its surface was faceted like a giant gemstone, with no visible propulsion systems or external markings. It was beautiful, alien, and completely dead in space. "Life signs?" Sarah asked, her voice tinged with both excitement and apprehension. Raj frowned at his console. "It's hard to get a clear reading through the hull, but wait, there's something. One life sign, extremely faint." Sarah didn't hesitate. "Prep a boarding team. Full quarantine protocols. I want to know what's on that ship and if we can help." Within minutes, Sarah led a team of 5 onto the alien vessel. The interior was as strange as the exterior, corridors that seemed to be grown rather than constructed, with an iridescent sheen that reminded Sarah of soap bubbles. The air was breathable, but carried an odd, sweet scent. As they moved deeper into the ship, following the weak life sign, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling of entering a tomb. There were no bodies, no signs of violence or struggle, just an eerie emptiness. They found her in what appeared to be the ship's control center. Curled up in a crystalline pod, barely breathing, was a creature unlike anything Sarah had ever seen. She was roughly humanoid, with delicate, almost translucent skin that shimmered with bioluminescent patterns. Her hair, if it could be called that, was a mass of fine, fiber optic-like strands that glowed faintly. "My God," breathed Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the team's medical officer. She ran her scanner over the alien's form. "She's in a state of extreme hibernation. Severe malnutrition, dehydration. I'm amazed she's still alive." Sarah made a quick decision. "We're taking her back to the horizon. Elena, do whatever you need to do to keep her stable during transport." As they carefully extracted the alien from her pod, Sarah noticed something clutched in her hand, a small crystalline device. She gently pried it loose, hoping it might provide some answers. Back on the horizon, the medical bay became a hive of activity. Elena and her team worked tirelessly to stabilize their unexpected patient, while Sarah and the science team pored over the data they'd retrieved from the alien ship. Hours turned into days. The alien girl remained unconscious, her condition slowly improving under Elena's care. The ship's linguists and xenobiologists worked around the clock, trying to decipher the alien language and biology. On the 5th day, as Sarah was reviewing reports in her ready room, Elena's voice came over the comm. "Captain, she's awake." Sarah hurried to the medical bay, her mind racing with questions. As she entered, she saw the alien girl sitting up in her bed, her large, opalescent eyes darting around the room in confusion and fear. Elena was attempting to communicate using a combination of simple words and gestures with limited success. The alien girl's expressions were eerily human-like, conveying a mix of gratitude and apprehension. Sarah approached slowly, hands open in a universal gesture of peace. "Hello," she said softly. "I'm Sarah. You're safe now." The alien girl tilted her head, studying Sarah intently. Then, to everyone's surprise, she spoke. Her voice was melodic, almost sing-song, but the words were clearly English. "Thank you for saving me." Sarah exchanged a shocked glance with Elena. You can understand us." The alien nodded weakly. "Your language. I learned while sleeping, from your machines." She gestured vaguely at the medical equipment surrounding her. "Incredible," Elena murmured. "Some form of adaptive telepathy, perhaps." Sarah pulled up a chair, sitting at eye level with their guest. Can you tell us your name? What happened to you? The alien's luminescent patterns pulsed with what Sarah interpreted as distress. I am, Lyra, my people, gone. Taken. I escaped, but her voice trailed off, her strength clearly fading. Sarah gently patted Lyra's hand. It's okay. You don't have to explain everything now. Rest. We'll talk more when you're stronger. As Lyra drifted back to sleep, Sarah's mind whirled with the implications of what they discovered. A new alien species with remarkable abilities, a mysterious threat that had apparently wiped out Lyra's people, and now the responsibility of caring for this lone survivor. She turned to Elena. Keep me updated on her condition, and double-check our long-range scans. Whatever happened to her people, we need to make sure it doesn't catch up with us. As Sarah left the medical bay, she couldn't shake the feeling that their mission had just become far more complex and potentially far more dangerous than anyone could have anticipated. The discovery of Lyra was just the beginning. What lay ahead was a journey that would test the limits of human compassion, ingenuity, and courage in the face of the unknown. Recovery and communication. Over the next few days, Lyra's condition improved steadily under the care of Dr. Elena Rodriguez and her medical team. The alien girl's resilience astounded them, her body adapting rapidly to the nutrients and treatments they provided. As her strength returned, so did her ability to communicate. Captain Sarah Chen made it a point to visit Lyra daily, slowly building a rapport with their unusual guest. On one such visit, she found Lyra sitting up in bed, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with a gentle, curious light. How are you feeling today, Lyra? Sarah asked, taking her usual seat beside the bed. Lyra's head tilted, a gesture Sarah had come to recognize as contemplation. My body is healing, she replied, her melodic voice growing stronger. But my mind, my heart, they still ache. Sarah nodded sympathetically. I can only imagine what you've been through. When you're ready, we'd like to understand more about what happened to you and your people. It might help us protect you better. Lyra's patterns flickered with what Sarah interpreted as a mix of sadness and resolve. Yes, you should know. My people, the Lumina, we were peaceful, explorers like you. We traveled the stars, seeking knowledge and harmony. As Lyra spoke, her words became more fluid, her grasp of English improving by the minute. She described a civilization of empaths and energy manipulators, able to communicate across vast distances and even influence the fabric of space-time itself. But such gifts, they drew attention. Unwanted attention, Lyra continued, her luminescence dimming. They came without warning, the Void Hunters. They sought to harness our abilities, to use us as weapons in their conquest of the galaxy. Sarah leaned forward, engrossed in the tale. These Void Hunters, what can you tell me about them? Lyra shuddered visibly. They are shadow-given form. Their ships absorb light, energy, life itself. They move silently between the stars, leaving only emptiness in their wake. My people, we were not prepared for such violence, such cruelty. As Lyra recounted the fall of her homeworld, Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. The idea of a force capable of overwhelming such an advanced species was terrifying. How did you escape? Sarah asked gently. Lyra's patterns swirled with a mix of pride and sorrow. My parents, they were part of our defense council. They created a prototype ship, one that could slip between dimensions, evading the Void Hunter's sensors. They placed me in stasis, hoping I would find safety, and perhaps, one day, help for our people. Sarah reached out, placing a comforting hand on Lyra's arm. You're safe now, Lyra. We'll do everything in our power to protect you and, if possible, to help your people. Just then, the ship's intercom crackled to life. Captain to the bridge came the urgent voice of Lieutenant Petal. We're detecting an anomaly on long-range sensors. Sarah stood quickly, torn between her duty to the ship and her desire to comfort Lyra. I have to go, but I'll be back soon. try to rest. As Sarah hurried to the bridge, her mind raced with the implications of Lyra's story. If these void hunters were as formidable as Lyra described, the Horizon and its crew could be in grave danger. On the bridge, a tense atmosphere greeted her. Lieutenant Patel's fingers danced across his console as he brought up a visual of the anomaly on the main view screen. "What are we looking at, Raj?" Sarah asked, her eyes fixed on the strange, shifting darkness that seemed to eat away at the very stars around it. "Unknown, Captain," Raj replied, his voice tight. "It's like a hole in space. Our sensors can't penetrate it, and it's disrupting our long-range communications." Sarah's blood ran cold as she remembered Lyra's words. Ships that absorb light and energy. "Captain," Raj looked at her quizzically. Sarah straightened, her decision made. "Red alert, shields up, all weapons systems on standby. And get us out of here, maximum warp." As the Horizon's engines rolled to life, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that they had just stumbled into something far bigger and more dangerous than they could have ever imagined. The race was on, not just to protect Lyra, but potentially to save the entire galaxy from a threat it wasn't prepared to face. Back in the medical bay, Lyra sensed the ship's sudden acceleration. Her patterns pulsed with fear and determination. She knew, deep in her core, that her past had caught up with her. But this time she wasn't alone. For the first time since the fall of her world, Lyra felt a glimmer of hope. These humans, with their curiosity, their compassion, and their unwavering determination, might just be the allies her people had been waiting for. As the Horizon streaked through space, leaving the ominous anomaly behind, the stage was set for a confrontation that would test the limits of both human and Luminan resolve. The true challenge was just beginning, and the fate of entire civilizations hung in the balance. Bonding and integration. As the U.S. Horizon raced through space, putting distance between themselves and the mysterious anomaly, life aboard the ship settled into a new routine. Lyra, now well enough to leave the medical bay, became an object of fascination for the crew. Captain Sarah Chen had made the decision to integrate Lyra into ship life, believing that keeping her isolated would do more harm than good. She assigned Ensign Maya Yoshida, a young xenobiologist with a gift for languages, to be Lyra's guide and liaison. "I still can't believe how quickly you've picked up our language," Maya said as she led Lyra through the ship's corridors. The alien girl's bioluminescent patterns pulsed with curiosity as she took in her surroundings. "Your minds are open," Lyra replied, her melodic voice tinged with wonder. "They broadcast your thoughts and emotions so clearly. It makes learning easy." Maya chuckled. "Well, I hope you're not reading anything too embarrassing in there." Lyra's patterns flickered in what Maya had come to recognize as amusement. "I try not to pry, but your species, you feel so deeply. It's beautiful." As they entered the ship's hydroponics bay, Lyra gasped. The room was filled with plants from various Earth ecosystems, creating a lush, green oasis in the sterile environment of the starship. "This is life," Lyra whispered, reaching out to touch a leaf with reverent fingers. "So much life, so far from its home." Dr. Aisha Mbeki, the ship's botanist, looked up from her work and smiled. "That's right, Lyra. We bring a little piece of Earth with us wherever we go." Lyra's patterns swirled with excitement. May I share something with you?" Aisha nodded, curious. Lyra closed her eyes, concentrating. Suddenly, the plants around her began to glow faintly, their leaves shimmering with bioluminescent patterns similar to Lyra's own. "Incredible," Aisha breathed. "You're communicating with them." Lyra nodded, her eyes still closed. "All life is connected by energy. My people, we cultivated this connection. We could speak to plants, nurture them, help them grow even in the harshest environments." As the days passed, Lyra's unique abilities became an invaluable asset to the crew. In engineering, she helped Chief Engineer Alexander Volkov optimize the ship's energy systems, her innate understanding of power flow leading to a 15% increase in efficiency. "I've never seen anything like it," Alexander admitted to Captain Chen during a staff meeting. It's like she can see the energy itself, manipulated in ways our technology can't even detect. In the science labs, Lyra's insights led to breakthroughs in understanding spatial anomalies and subspace phenomena. Her ability to perceive and interact with energy fields on a fundamental level opened up new avenues of research that the human scientists had never even considered. But it wasn't all work. Lyra's childlike wonder at human culture endeared her to the crew. She marveled at their music, spent hours in the ship's library learning about Earth's diverse ecosystems and cultures, and even developed a taste for ice cream, much to the amusement of the galley staff. One evening, Sarah found Lyra in the ship's observation lounge, staring out at the stars streaking by. The alien girl's patterns were pulsing slowly, almost sadly. "Credit for your thoughts?" Sarah asked, joining her at the window. Lyra turned, her opalescent eyes reflecting the starlight. "I was thinking about home, about my people. For so long, I was alone, adrift. And now I have found a new family among the stars." Sarah felt a lump form in her throat. "You've become a part of our family, Lyra. Whatever happens, you'll always have a home with us." Lyra's patterns brightened with gratitude and affection. "Thank you, Sarah. Your kindness, your crew's acceptance, it gives me hope. Hope that perhaps one day we can save my people, that humans and Lumina might stand together against the darkness." As they stood there, watching the galaxy rush by, Sarah felt a sense of purpose stronger than any she'd experienced in her years of space exploration. They were no longer just mapping stars or making first contact. They were standing on the precipice of a conflict that could shape the future of the galaxy itself. But even as this sense of destiny settled over her, alarms blared throughout the ship. Lieutenant Patel's voice came over the intercom, tense and urgent. "Captain, to the bridge. We've detected multiple anomalies on an intercept course. They found us." Sarah's eyes met Lyra's, seeing her own determination reflected in those alien orbs. Whatever was coming, they would face it together. Human ingenuity and Luminan wisdom united against a threat that sought to extinguish the light of entire civilizations. As they raced to the bridge, the U.S. horizon prepared for a confrontation that would test the limits of their newfound alliance. The Void Hunters were coming, and the fate of two species, perhaps the entire galaxy, hung in the balance. Pursuit and conflict. The bridge of the U.S. horizon was a hive of controlled chaos as Captain Sarah Chen strode in, Lyra close behind. The main view screen showed multiple dark anomalies, eerily similar to one they'd encountered earlier, closing in on their position. "Report," Sarah barked, sliding into the captain's chair. Lieutenant Raj Patel's fingers danced across his console. "5 Void Hunter vessels, Captain. They're unlike anything in our database. Our sensors can barely get a lock on them." "They absorb energy," Lyra said, her voice trembling slightly. "Your sensors, your weapons, they may be useless against them." Sarah's mind raced, weighing their options. "Evasive maneuvers, Mr. Kowalski. Let's see if we can outrun them." The horizon banked sharply, its engines straining as it attempted to put distance between itself and the pursuing vessels. But the Void Hunters were relentless, matching their every move with uncanny precision. "They're gaining on us, Captain," Ensign Kowalski reported, his voice tense. "At this rate, they'll be in weapons range in 3 minutes." Sarah turned to Lyra. "Is there anything you can do? Any way to disrupt their systems or slow them down?" Lyra's bioluminescent patterns pulsed rapidly as she considered. I might be able to create an energy field, something to confuse their sensors. But I've never attempted anything on this scale before." "Do it," Sarah nodded. "Whatever you can manage." Lyra closed her eyes, concentrating intensely. The bridge crew watched in awe as her body began to glow, tendrils of energy spreading out from her like gossamer threads. On the view screen, they could see a shimmering field expanding from the horizon, enveloping the space around them. For a moment, it seemed to work. The Void Hunter ship slowed, their formation breaking as they struggled to penetrate the energy field. But then, to everyone's horror, they began to absorb the energy itself, growing stronger. No, Lara cried out, collapsing to her knees. Sarah rushed to her side, supporting her. It's okay, Lyra. You tried, Sarah reassured her, even as her mind raced for a new strategy. Suddenly, the ship rocked violently. We're hit, Raj shouted. Some kind of energy-draining beam. Shields are down to 60%. Sarah helped Lyra to a nearby seat, then turned to face her crew. All power to engines. Arm quantum torpedoes. If we can't run, we'll stand and fight. The horizon unleashed a barrage of weapons fire, the torpedoes streaking towards the Void Hunter vessels. But to the crew's dismay, the weapons seemed to simply disappear as they neared their targets, absorbed into the inky blackness of the alien ships. Another blast rocked the ship. Shields at 30%, Raj reported grimly. We can't take much more of this, Captain. Sarah's mind whirled, searching for a solution. They couldn't outrun them, couldn't outfight them. What options did they have left? It was Lyra who provided the spark of inspiration. Captain, she said, her voice weak but determined. The Void Hunters, they feed on energy. But what if we gave them too much? Sarah's eyes widened as she grasped Lyra's idea. Mr. Volkov, she called to the chief engineer. Can we rig the warp core to release a massive energy pulse? Alexander's voice came back over the comm, skeptical but intrigued. It's possible, Captain, but it would leave us dead in the water. And the blast could damage us as well. Do it, Sarah ordered. Rig it so we can channel the pulse through our deflector dish. We'll give these energy vampires a feast they won't forget. As Alexander and his team worked frantically in engineering, the bridge crew fought to keep the ship intact. The Void Hunters pressed their attack, sensing victory was near. Shields at 10%, Raj reported. Hull breaches on decks 4 and 7. Warp core pulse ready, Captain. Alexander's voice came through, strained but triumphant. Sarah took a deep breath. This was it. All or nothing. On my mark, drop shields and fire the pulse. All hands, brace for impact. The seconds ticked by like hours. The Void Hunters closed in, their energy-draining beams intensifying. Now, Sarah shouted. The horizon's shields dropped, and for a split second, the ship was completely vulnerable. Then, a blinding flash erupted from the deflector dish. A massive wave of pure energy engulfed the space around them, washing over the Void Hunter ships. At first, the alien vessels seemed to revel in the energy, absorbing it greedily. But as the pulse continued, their sleek forms began to distort. Cracks appeared in their hull, light spilling out from within. It's working, Raj exclaimed. They're overloading. One by one, the Void Hunter ships began to explode, unable to contain the massive influx of energy. The horizon rocked violently in the wake of the explosions, systems flickering and alarms blaring. As the last Void Hunter ship disintegrated, a stunned silence fell over the bridge. They had done it. Against all odds, they had survived. Sarah slumped in her chair, exhausted but relieved. She looked over at Lyra, who was staring at the view screen in disbelief. You did it, Lyra whispered, her patterns pulsing with a mix of joy and sorrow. You defeated them. Sarah shook her head. We did it, Lyra. Together, human and Lumina. As the crew began damage assessment and repair efforts, Sarah knew that this victory, while significant, was just the beginning. The Void Hunters would be back, and next time, they'd be prepared for the Horizon's tricks. But looking around at her determined crew and their remarkable alien ally, Sarah felt a surge of hope. They had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, a beacon of light and cooperation in a galaxy threatened by shadow. The horizon limped through space, battered but unbroken, and somewhere out there, the surviving Lumina waited, unaware that hope was finally on its way. Human ingenuity. In the days following their narrow victory over the Void Hunters, the U.S. Horizon limped through space, its crew working tirelessly to repair the damage sustained during the battle. Captain Sarah Chen knew that their success had been as much luck as strategy, and they couldn't count on such fortune holding out forever. As she stood in the observation lounge, watching her crew coordinate repair efforts outside the ship, Sarah's mind raced with possibilities. They needed a more permanent solution to the Void Hunter threat, not just for their own safety, but for the sake of Lyra's people and countless other civilizations at risk. The door hissed open behind her, and Lyra entered, her bioluminescent patterns pulsing with a mix of concern and determination. "Captain," she said, her melodic voice tinged with urgency, "I've been thinking about our encounter with the Void Hunters. There might be a way to turn their greatest strength into a weakness." Sarah turned, intrigued. "I'm listening." Lyra's patterns swirled as she explained. "The Void Hunters feed on energy, absorbing it to power their ships and weapons. But what if we could make that energy indigestible, so to speak?" A spark of inspiration lit up in Sarah's eyes. "Like a poison." "More like an allergen," Lyra clarified. "Something that would disrupt their ability to process the energy they absorb. If we could introduce such an element into their systems, we could potentially neutralize their entire fleet," Sarah finished, excitement building in her voice. "Lyra, that's brilliant. But how do we create something like that?" "That's where I hope your human ingenuity comes in," Lyra said, her patterns flickering with what Sarah had come to recognize as a smile. "My people have extensive knowledge of energy manipulation, but we never considered weaponizing it in this way. Perhaps together we can find a solution." Sarah nodded, her mind already formulating a plan. "Assemble a team. I want our best scientists and engineers working on this. And Lyra, I need you to share everything you know about Void Hunter technology and your own people's energy manipulation techniques." Over the next weeks, as the Horizon continued its journey, a dedicated team worked around the clock to bring Lyra's idea to fruition. Dr. Elena Rodriguez and Chief Engineer Alexander Volkov led the effort, combining their expertise in xenobiology and advanced propulsion systems with Lyra's unique insights. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Ensign Maya Yoshida, while studying Lyra's bioluminescent patterns, noticed a particular frequency that seemed to disrupt the alien's energy flow. "It's like static on a radio," Maya explained excitedly to the team. "This specific frequency interferes with Lyra's ability to manipulate energy. What if we could amplify this effect and use it against the Void Hunters?" The idea sparked a flurry of activity. Alexander and his engineering team began work on a device that could generate and project this disruptive frequency on a massive scale. Elena and Lyra focused on fine-tuning the frequency to ensure maximum impact on Void Hunter systems while minimizing harm to other life forms. As the project progressed, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the collaboration she was witnessing. Humans and Illumina, working together, combining their unique strengths to create something neither species could have achieved alone. It was a powerful reminder of why she had joined Starfleet in the first place, to push the boundaries of knowledge and foster understanding between different cultures. Finally, after weeks of tireless effort, the team unveiled their creation, the harmonic disruptor. The device was a marvel of hybrid technology, combining human engineering with luminant energy manipulation principles. In theory, it would project a field of disruptive energy that would render Void Hunter ships unable to absorb or process energy, effectively neutralizing them. "It's ready for testing, Captain," Alexander reported, his usually stoic face betraying a hint of pride. "But we'll need a live target to know for sure if it works." Sarah nodded grimly. "And I have a feeling we won't have to wait long for that opportunity." Her words proved prophetic. Just days later, as the Horizon approached a densely populated sector of space, long-range sensors detected a familiar energy signature. The Void Hunters had returned, and this time, they had brought reinforcements. "I'm counting at least a dozen ships, Captain," Lieutenant Raj Patel reported, his voice tense. They're on an intercept course. Sarah took a deep breath, steeling herself for the confrontation to come. Battle stations. All hands prepare for combat. Mr. Volkov, is a harmonic disruptor ready? Aye, Captain. Alexander's voice came over the comm. But we've only got one shot at this. The power requirements are enormous. If it doesn't work... It'll work, Sarah said firmly, glancing at Lyra, who stood beside her on the bridge, patterns pulsing with nervous energy. It has to. As the Void Hunter fleet approached, the tension on the bridge was palpable. The alien ships moved with eerie synchronization, their dark forms blotting out the stars behind them. They're in range, Captain, Raj reported. Sarah took a final look around the bridge, meeting the eyes of each of her crew members. She saw fear there, yes, but also determination and trust. Activate the harmonic disruptor, she ordered. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, a wave of shimmering energy burst forth from the horizon, expanding rapidly to engulf the approaching Void Hunter fleet. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Void Hunter ships began to falter, their smooth movements becoming erratic. Bursts of energy erupted from their hulls as their systems went haywire, unable to process the energy they were constantly absorbing. It's working, Lyra exclaimed, her patterns flashing with excitement. Their energy absorption systems are completely disrupted. Sarah allowed herself a small smile of triumph. Mr. Kowalski, bring us about. Target their lead ship with quantum torpedoes. Let's see how they fare without their energy shields. The Horizon's weapons found their mark with devastating effect. Without their ability to absorb and deflect energy, the Void Hunter ships were surprisingly vulnerable. One by one, they fell to the combined assault of the Horizon's conventional weapons and the ongoing disruption of their core systems. In a matter of minutes, the battle was over. The once fearsome Void Hunter fleet was reduced to drifting hulks, their threat neutralized. As the crew of the Horizon celebrated their victory, Sarah turned to Lyra, whose patterns were pulsing with a complex mix of emotions. We did it, Sarah said softly. Your people are avenged, and countless others will be saved from the Void Hunter's predations. Lyra's opalescent eyes shimmered with what might have been tears. Thank you, Sarah. All of you. You've given me hope that I had thought lost forever. But even as the initial elation of victory washed over them, Sarah knew their journey was far from over. The Void Hunters they had defeated were likely only a fraction of their total forces, and somewhere out there, the surviving Lumina were waiting to be found and rescued. As she gazed out at the star-filled expanse before them, Sarah felt a renewed sense of purpose. The Horizon and its crew had proven that the combined strength of human ingenuity and alien wisdom could overcome even the most daunting challenges. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. Part 6. Resolution and New Beginnings. In the weeks following their victory over the Void Hunter fleet, the U.S. Horizon found itself at the center of a rapidly changing galactic landscape. News of their triumph spread quickly, carried by subspace communications and word of mouth across countless worlds. For many species that had lived in fear of the Void Hunters, the Horizon's crew became legendary heroes, a beacon of hope in a universe that had grown dark and threatening. Captain Sarah Chen, however, knew that their work was far from finished. The Void Hunters they had defeated were likely only a small portion of their total forces, and the threat they posed to the galaxy remained significant. Moreover, the fate of Lyra's people, the Lumina, weighed heavily on her mind. As the Horizon docked at a bustling space station for repairs and resupply, Sarah called a meeting of her senior staff and Lyra. The alien girl had become an integral part of the crew, her unique abilities and perspective proving invaluable time and time again. We've won a significant victory, Sarah began, looking around the table at her assembled team. But we can't rest on our laurels. The Void Hunters are still out there, and so are the surviving Lumina. We need to decide our next move. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, the ship's chief medical officer, spoke up first. Captain, I've been analyzing the data we gathered from the defeated Void Hunter ships. Their biology is fascinating. They seem to be a hybrid species, part organic, part energy. It's possible that they weren't always the threat they are now. Something changed them. This revelation sparked a flurry of discussion. Could the Void Hunters be reasoned with? Was there a way to reverse whatever process had turned them into energy-consuming predators? Laura's patterns pulsed thoughtfully as she considered this new information. In our oldest legends, she said, her melodic voice tinged with wonder, there are stories of a race of beings that existed between realms, guardians of cosmic balance. Could the Void Hunters be a corrupted version of these ancient protectors? The idea was both thrilling and terrifying. If true, it meant that the Void Hunters were not just a threat to be eliminated, but a cosmic wrong that needed to be righted. As the discussion continued, a plan began to take shape. The Horizon would continue its mission, but with a dual purpose: to find and rescue the surviving Lumina, and to seek out the source of the Void Hunters' corruption. It won't be easy, Sarah cautioned. We'll be venturing into uncharted space, facing dangers we can't even imagine, and we'll be doing it with limited support from Starfleet. This mission is beyond anything we've been trained for. She looked around the table, meeting each crew member's eyes. I won't order anyone to come with us. This is a volunteer mission, with all the risks that entails. If you choose to stay behind, I'll understand. The response was immediate and unanimous. Every member of the senior staff, from the stoic Alexander Volkov to the usually timid ensign Maya Yoshida, voiced their commitment to seeing the mission through. Laura's patterns glowed with gratitude and affection. I cannot express how much your dedication means to me, she said, her voice thick with emotion. My people owe you a debt we can never fully repay. With the decision made, the Horizon's crew threw themselves into preparations for their extended mission. The ship was retrofitted with advanced sensors designed to detect the unique energy signatures of both Lumina and Void Hunters. The harmonic disruptor was refined and integrated into the ship's main systems, providing a constant defense against potential attacks. As word of their mission spread, the Horizon began to attract attention from other species who had suffered at the hands of the Void Hunters. Volunteers from a dozen different worlds came forward, offering their unique skills and knowledge to aid in the quest. The Horizon's crew grew more diverse, a microcosm of the galactic community they sought to protect. Finally, after weeks of preparation, the U.S. Horizon set out on its new mission. As the ship broke orbit and headed into the unknown, Sarah stood on the bridge, Lyra by her side, and addressed her crew. We're embarking on a journey unlike any in the history of Starfleet, she said, her voice carrying to every corner of the ship. We carry with us the hopes of countless beings across the galaxy. Our mission is not just to explore, but to heal, to right a cosmic wrong, and bring balance back to the universe. It won't be easy, and there will be times when we question whether we're on the right path. But I have faith in each and every one of you. Together, there's nothing we can't accomplish. As the Horizon leaped into warp, streaking towards the uncharted regions of space where they hoped to find answers, Sarah felt a mix of trepidation and excitement. They were truly going where no one had gone before, guided by a sense of purpose that transcended simple exploration. The journey that followed was one of incredible discovery and harrowing danger. The Horizon encountered wonders beyond imagination, vast nebulae that sang with cosmic harmonies, planets with ecosystems that defied conventional understanding of biology, and ancient artifacts that hinted at civilizations long lost to time. But for every wonder, there was a new challenge to overcome. They faced off against rogue Void Hunter patrols, each encounter a test of their technology and tactics. They navigated treacherous spatial anomalies that threatened to tear the ship apart, and all the while, they searched for signs of the missing Lumina. Months turned into years, and the Horizon's crew became more than just colleagues. They became family. Humans and aliens worked side by side, learning from each other, growing together. Lyra's abilities continued to evolve, her connection to the cosmic energies around them proving invaluable in their search. It was Lyra who first sensed the presence of her people. As the Horizon approached a remote star system on the edge of known space, her patterns began to pulse with unprecedented intensity. "They're here," she whispered, her eyes wide with a mix of joy and disbelief. "My people, I can feel them." The system was hidden within a dense nebula, shielded from sensors and prying eyes. As the Horizon carefully navigated the swirling gases, they found themselves facing a breathtaking sight: a massive space station, its crystalline structure pulsing with the same bioluminescent patterns as Lyra's skin. "It's Lumina Prime," Lyra breathed, her voice filled with awe. "The last refuge of my people. I never thought I'd see it with my own eyes." The reunion that followed was joyous and bittersweet. The surviving Lumina, while overjoyed to be reunited with one of their own, were initially wary of the humans and other aliens aboard the Horizon. But as Lyra shared the story of their journey and the friendships she had forged, the barriers began to fall. The Lumina shared their own tales of survival and discovery. They had retreated to this hidden sanctuary, using their advanced energy manipulation abilities to conceal themselves from the Void Hunters. But they had not been idle in their seclusion. They had been researching, seeking to understand the nature of their ancient enemies and find a way to restore balance to the cosmos. With the combined knowledge and resources of the Horizon's crew and the Lumina, a plan began to take shape. The Void Hunters, they discovered, were indeed the corrupted remnants of an ancient race of cosmic guardians. A cataclysmic event in the distant past had twisted their purpose, turning them from protectors into predators. The key to restoring them lay in a complex combination of energy manipulation and advanced technology. The harmonic disruptor, refined and amplified by Lumina techniques, could potentially reverse the corruption on a massive scale. But to implement this solution, they would need to strike at the very heart of Void Hunter territory, a massive black hole at the center of a dead galaxy where the corruption had first taken root. As the combined fleet of the Horizon and Lumina ships prepared for their final mission, Sarah found herself reflecting on the incredible journey that had led them to this point. What had begun as a routine exploration mission had transformed into a quest to save the galaxy itself. The final battle was apocalyptic in scale. The Void Hunters, sensing the threat to their existence, threw everything they had at the Allied fleet. Space itself seemed to warp and twist as energies beyond mortal comprehension were unleashed. At the crucial moment, with their ships battered and their energy reserves nearly depleted, it was the combined efforts of human determination and lunar wisdom that carried the day. The harmonic disruptor, powered by the combined life force of volunteers from every species in the fleet, pierced the veil of corruption surrounding the black hole. For a moment, the universe seemed to hold its breath. Then, like a wave of pure light, the cleansing energy washed over the Void Hunter fleet. Ship after ship transformed, the dark mist that had consumed them for eons burning away to reveal their true forms, beings of pure energy and cosmic beauty. As the restored Guardians turned to face their former enemies, there was no anger, no desire for revenge. There was only a profound sense of gratitude and a renewed commitment to their original purpose, maintaining the balance of the cosmos. In the aftermath of their victory, as the Allied fleet limped home to a galaxy forever changed, Sarah stood on the observation deck of the Horizon, Lyra by her side. They watched as the stars streamed by, each one a reminder of the countless lives they had touched and saved. "What happens now?" Sarah asked softly. Lyra's patterns pulsed with contentment and purpose. "Now we rebuild. We learn, we grow. Humans, Lumina, and the restored Guardians, we have a chance to create a new era of peace and understanding in the galaxy."